Welcome to another fantastic episode of Montauk.ke. This is season 6, episode 5. Got it?
Yeah.
If you haven't already, I'll keep reminding you until you do it. Like, share, subscribe. I'm with my main man, Eli Mwendadem.
As always, who else?
Eli Mwendadem.
Who else gonna be here?
Yeah, the man from Kent. As you can tell today, he's decided to pull out some drip. As you can see,
I said, let me try something. Let me try something. I'm going bowling. This is my bowling shirt.
Yeah, look. You're looking mad saucy, saucy.
Thank you.
So Montauk.ke,
you
you can see the hat. We're ready.
You're looking great.
I'm
as well,
perfect.
sir.
How are you doing?
I can't complain. I'm very good.
Thank you very much.
It's a good day to record. I'm excited about today's topic. I'm excited to just get into the nooks and crannies of life with my co-host Oscar Come.
Ooh, fire.
Yeah.
So today's nooks and crannies,
nooks and crannies.
Eli has said, nooks and crannies. Today's topic is we're going to talk about something that one of our members of our Montauk community sent us a DM. Shout out to him. We're going to reply to it soon. Asking about how ways in which the youth can participate better in making their society healthier and better. There's another related question about government involvement, whether the government is doing enough to involve the youth in terms of its own agendas. So I'd rather, Eli, you and I talk about the ways you and I, as youth are participating. I can't stop. Sorry, guys, I can't. That's the Jamaican thing entered my mind. Can't stop. Once it came, I love dancehall. Me shout out to Spice, shout out to Shaggy,
We're going to talk about the youth, them. Me say.
We're going to talk about the youth, them. Me say we're going to talk about the youth, them.
It's
a must.
The production be saying, the production tell us, you're not talking the accent. We said we don't care.
The production,
they
we not care. We not talking the accent.
We talk about the youth, them real quick. We don't care.
We're talking about the youth, them real quick. We not care.
Big conspiracy. Babylon.
As you can see, big conspiracy. Big conspiracy. They say Kenyans, we not talking the way we talk. They say Kenyans don't know about Jamaica.
We not talk from the art.
You mad. We talk from the art. Best concert in the history of Kenya was Conscience 2019. Google it.
Google it
if you don't know. Anyway. Google it. Google it if you don't know. Best concert in Kenya is dancehall concerts. Quiet. Anyway, no.
We apologize.
We had
this morning. We started listening to reggae.
I don't apologize.
Sorry. I'm crying.
Nah. We're sorry.
Oh,
We're sorry. This episode is about the youth, Eli. This episode is about the guys who, our main target audience, people between the ages of 18 and 35, who are participating in society today and who work hard, trying to make a living. I know it's hard, upon Zion, but the road to Zion is clear, Okay, last time, I promise.
We must leave Babylon.
Last time, I promise. Yeah, so...
I'm sorry, guys, it's a mess.
Okay, we're trying. We're trying our best. We're trying our best not to, but we can't help ourselves. So yeah, Eli, how have you been participating as a youth in society to make it better?
I had to really compose myself. I had to compose myself so I don't do the accent. Okay, so how have I been participating to youth? I think for me, when I never really thought about youth participation or thought about youth empowerment until I sort of came to Kenya. I didn't sort of come to Kenya, I came to Kenya.
Yeah.
When I arrived, when you've been somewhere else and you start to see gaps when you arrive back home, right? So through conversations, through just interactions, through just seeing things, I've realized that the youth in Kenya are such a, in my opinion, underutilized demographic when it comes to opportunity. Because the thing that I saw personally was in the digital space. In the last episode we talked about the digital space. The one thing I saw, and why one of my ventures, which is really focused on youth, started, is because I saw so many young people online just trying to make a living. And when I saw that, when I saw that, there were so many small businesses online, and so I thought, okay, can I harness that, create an event based online and make it physical? That's how the Instamarket 254 started, with me and my sister, when we sort of brainstormed this together. Because that was now when we saw the youth, all these, we were going on Instagram, well, now we're going into the Kenyan side of Instagram, and we're like, okay, there's so many businesses. So from the reaction to that, is when I realized just how resourceful, driven, and how much the youth are yearning for an opportunity to make more money. So that's why that platform started. I'm gonna stop the Jamaican thing, but it's really hard. I'm being serious as well, by the way.
It's really hard.
It's really hard. So
it's really hard. Once you start, it's a bit difficult.
It's very hard.
It's a bit difficult.
So from just the Instamarket 254, we've helped over like 700 businesses in our database, people that have signed up. We've had thousands of people coming to the events, and that for me was a perfect portrayal of how, if you give the youth a platform, my instance was a digital platform and an event, they will turn up, they will show out, they'll network, and they will push themselves to make sales. They'll push themselves to draw audiences. I've seen, especially, I hate to say it, I've seen especially the women, the young women of Kenya. They all have.
Why do you hate to say it?
No, I'm saying, I said especially. I said especially. Of my like 700 or so vendors that I've had with my sister, I've noticed about 500 of them are women. Because I've just seen a disproportionate amount of women that are trying to be entrepreneurs. I'm not in the corporate space within Kenya, so I can't speak to that. But in terms of the entrepreneur side, I've seen, when it comes to youth empowerment, to conclude, is that if you give them a chance, if you give them an opportunity, a platform, a day to turn up, they will show up. Same thing we've seen with Montauk. Like, when you start a conversation, they're waiting. They want to talk. Like, there's so much we want to talk about. When we're going on our lives, when we interact with people our age, we get shocked that people are thinking like us. So I think a lot of the time the narrative around youth can be slightly off, that, we're lazy, we're delayed, there's no delayed gratification, we're not working hard, we want things handed to us. But I don't think that's the case. I think the structures in place a lot of the time don't allow us and aren't informed by us, so they don't work for us sometimes. You could speak to maybe that more specifically, but that's the notion I've got from conversations. So my participation has been through Montauk and Instamarket, and it's been so rewarding. I would never want to stop, basically.
Yeah. So Eli's participation has been through building a business, through his own entrepreneurship. That's how you've participated in society, and that's like a big thing. If you're an entrepreneur, no matter what difference you're making, as small as it is, it's huge for especially you as a youth, putting out your energy in society, selling a product, selling a service, and getting cash in return. That's a way you're participating in developing it, and you're moving the economy forward, because that's money changing hands.
Exactly.
And that's one way to do it, like through the entrepreneurship channel. Okay, for me, personally, how I feel like I participate in society is, through the Montauk.ke platform, where we do the fantastic things we do with charity and with content, and with the business side as well, making sure that we make sure that there's money flowing around us. We are not, in fact, brands, if you're listening, we need more of your money. Pay us money.
Help.
We know what to do with it. Please. It's not that, me and Eli look good on camera, but we want money. We are the youth them. The youth them need the money. Thank you very much. So moving on.
Email us.
So that's one way. Email us. Please let us know. So that's one way that we deal with. And then the second way is through my career, my profession, what I do, where I'm a lawyer in my day-to-day life. And, getting my mentors and learning through that way and trying to add value to the clients that we serve where I work. That's how we do it as a youth. I'm learning and I'm still able to carry out a service. That's helpful. You push someone else's business agenda forward. It means that there's more employment, there's more strength in the economy of Kenya through the little thing that I do every day. And that's something that the youth need to recognize. You don't necessarily have to be, oh my God, start the next Microsoft. Oh my God, start, have a business that's yours. Sometimes even working your job is contributing to society. And then I also want to remind you to file your taxes. Mannerless, I know you haven't filed your taxes. Please file your taxes. It's important. Career, not a joke. So
the government.
So when you file, the government is mad. It's a mad thing. It's a mad thing. it's important to file your taxes also through the work and the endeavors that you do. Otherwise, it's going to be an issue, and I encourage you to do it. We try our best to do it here. I don't want to confirm it on camera; it's risky. But like that's contribute to your economy through your work and your efforts and your energy. That's another way to do it. Eli, what are your thoughts on how government or how public institutions are including the youth? Do you think that public institutions are doing enough to like get the youth involved in whatever it is that they're doing?
Yeah. So in terms of my limited experiences. I'll draw from some.
Even in the UK.
Yeah. So the one I want to draw from is actually I was doing business outside of the UK in Prague, and one of the things I found there is when I was trying to what.
Oof, the guy said, I was doing business outside in Prague,
I mean,
just another day. Just another day in the shop, Just another day.
So, yeah.
Another day.
So there we were in the penthouse.
Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat.
So we got in the Bentley.
Love Island.
I
was in Prague. Oh my Jesus Christ!
Oh
bro.
dear. I didn't even mean for it to come out like that. But anyway, when I was in Prague, doing business with my father, what I did find is we were trying to. I won't go into the whole dealings of it, but we were trying to basically enhance the IT space for Czech children and in the Czech primary and secondary school kids of that age. And one of the things, the conversations we're having is that, some of the ways that we're trying to give kids information and tools and knowledge for the future, the ways we're doing it is in a very archaic way. This is one, because I was doing a presentation, this is one of the things I was saying to the...
To the market investors.
No, to the mayor. So this is one of
the mayor. This is
one of the things I was saying to them is that a lot of the things I hate the way this is coming across. A lot of the things that when we're trying to help kids is we're going to teach them English, and we're going to teach them maths, and we're going to teach them how to do this. We're going to do all these going out in the wilderness, those sort of things, and that's now being put on a pedestal. Like here we have the Duke of Edinburgh Awards and those sort of things. And I was saying to them, I was like, these are very archaic. Like kids right now don't need to know how to tie a certain type of knot. We can Google it now. Like, that's not important. The things we need to be enhancing, this is going to answer your question, like, I promise. The things we need to be enhancing is the things that...
Do you? Will it now?
The things that we need to be enhancing... I hate this. The things we need to be enhancing are things like coding, right? So the kids of this generation, they don't need to know how to survive in the wilderness because that's not going to happen because we're very urbanized. They need to learn at a very young age how to code. So the conversation was, how do we asked these kids, we spoke to them, like, what do you like at the moment? They're like, we like Minecraft, we like Fortnite, we like this and this. And then we'll say, okay, so how would you want to be taught? And they were like, I would love to know how to make something like Minecraft. So now that initiative turned into not old people saying, when I was your age, I learned how to do this. This is what you should be doing academically or even socially. It came from really small kids saying, all I care about is Fortnite. How am I able to move that brick here and here? So then you work backwards now, and this is the answer to answer your question, like how can that relationship happen where youth are being empowered by themselves and being assisted by the older generation and the powers that be, is that now when the kids are coming in, they're saying, okay, maybe we could be teaching you how to code, but in a very elementary sense, not really the coding, but even they do this in China at the moment. Even the way you're taught to solve a problem is mirrored when you're doing coding. So you're teaching them so that the tools they're being equipped with is relevant to their generation, right? So that's just an example on an academic scale. But I think even socially, a lot of the time, we're being targeted by people that are double our age to solve a problem that's for our age group. And there's no way you can relate just because of the nature of how humans are. It's very hard for you to relate to the youth them if you're like 2 times their age because you're not going through the same issues they're going through. So when we're talking about, even when we're having conversations with some government institutions, the questions they're asking us, if you remember the phone call, is, okay, the broad question is, we want to use social media to reach the youth. that's as far as they got, because they hadn't thought, like, how do you implement this? We just thought we could write something, you know. So I think when it comes to youth participation in terms of like intervention and things, I think a lot of the time it needs to work backwards. We need to be making the decisions, and then yes, being informed as to how we can actually implement them, but we need to come up with the strategies and not be just sort of dictated how the strategy is going to run. That's going to inform our lives. So I'd like a lot of us to be in the decision making seats. Yes, we need the experience from those people, but let us in the room to actually structure it with you and then implement it together. And that's the conversation we had yesterday, that we want to be part of the implementing stage, not just a focus group, you know.
Yeah, like, you know, the thing is very, very well put, Eli. Very well put.
Thank you.
Fantastic thing to tell. Fantastic thing to tell the madam about the youth them.
Thank you.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important
It's
that
very
the youth
important.
them get the respect, you know.
Yeah, respect.
Very important. Very fundamental.
Yeah.
Fundamental respect. You know, like the truth about it is a lot of the old guys in the older generation, just because the youth don't have the same value systems that you did, because like, we know we're living in a different reality, you know, like the youth have the big advantage of, we have a lot more technology to do the things that you did, like, and you remember when in our first episode we were talking about how weeks can happen in decades and decades can happen in weeks. That's happened now with the coronavirus pandemic. Now we have more tools to do more things that were a struggle to do initially. So don't demonize the youth and say, all you're doing is you're on social media. All you are doing is, you know, you're not even going for meetings. You're sitting and watching them on your TV in your shorts. Yeah, because we can do it now. Now we can do it.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
Yeah.
But you couldn't. You had to sit for hours in traffic and be inefficient. But the youth are now more efficient because they can actually work from home and get things done.
We are.
Yeah, we are much more efficient. So I do agree that yes, sometimes these tools are misused, but I think that simply because there's not enough context around the youth's kind of the youth mentality around young people and mentality around work and play and life, the older generation seems to be perplexed as to how exactly they can design strategies to reach us. And the only answer to that is by actually having young minds and people in the room. A generation that continues to baffle is not even the millennial generation. The Gen Z generation is what's crazy for me.
Yeah.
It's crazy for me. It's crazy for me what this Gen Z generation is doing. It's mad. Because you see, there is no limitedness. Generation Z they're the limitless generation. They do not understand inefficiency. It does not occur in their minds. They can't imagine a time when, you know, there was no Instagram, no Facebook, no TikTok. All these things they've grown up with them. While the millennial generation is the stuck in the mud generation, the one that's right in the middle. We have to innovate such that we continuously like push the human race forward. And the only way to do that is to be accepted as who we are. Like the youth must be accepted as they are, not as you want them to be.
Yeah.
If you're like in a senior level, you won't get that. Like you won't get, like, who thought, like, for me, one of the things that continue to surprise me is the entire conversation around race. Who would have thought 4 5 years ago that the race issue, the minority issues of gender, sexuality, all these would be at the forefront of the conversation today.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think 5 6 7 years ago it would be as loud as it is now. And that's like an example of the direction the world is taking, that the youth are front and center of, and are happy to change. Even if you look at like our agenda, which is portraying the African child and the African son in a more positive and enlightened manner, or portraying men in a way that's less toxic and more positive. That agenda is not something that someone who's been in past generations would want to understand. It's like, yo, fine. You want to be vulnerable? Yeah, okay, cool. But like, you see, for us as youth, you see, that's something for us that's important, and it's not something that is important for older generations, because for them, the systems that were there in place and that were oppressive may have been even silent. So they never even realized that they were being oppressed.
Yeah. Oh my, that's so true.
Yeah. And like, we're not, and you see, the youth are not limited. You can't tell like someone who's like a doctor, all you should do is go to work every day and check on your patients Nah, if a doctor wants to do that in the morning, in the afternoon wants to shoot a podcast on Medicare, he can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you have a problem with it, you might even find that the podcast is earning more than the actual practice. Which is funny, but it's life.
Yeah.
It's life, you know what I mean? Yeah.
No,
it's life. So like that's the
I know
that's
what you
mean. That's the way society is built on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The thing you said about Gen Z is so true, because I find, and I have to catch myself because I'm a millennial. I have to catch myself the way that I even can be, my reaction and my instinct can be dismissive sometimes of Gen Z, because I can say something like what do you call it? I can say something like, oh, back in my day we used to go out and the only way you knew where your friends were is because you'd see all the bikes parked at one house, and then you'll be climbing trees, and these kids don't go outside that much, right? And then we start saying, the kids they don't know about health and stuff. That same child probably, like if I'm looking at like a 13, 14-year-old, they probably know more about nutrition than I did. But because they've seen a blogger, they're like, I only want to eat great like this, because I've seen my favorite influencer saying you have to have your pH balanced and all of this stuff. But for me, I used to come home, have a chocolate bar, run to the shop, get this, because I didn't know that information. So I think a lot of the time I have to catch myself saying that, when we look at the lifestyle choices and when we look at the perception of reality from Gen Z, and I think it's the same thing our parents do. And what's the generation before us? Why? Boomers, the baby boomers, the baby boomers, the baby boomers. Yeah. So I think the same way the baby boomers look at us and they're like, when I used to have to work for I have to do this to be able to earn this much money. Then they look at us saying, oh, you just go on your computer. It's the same that I look at like sometimes Gen Z and they say, you need to be going outside more. But then I think the only reason we're even receptive to that kind of mindset, like let me check myself, is because we've sort of felt the effects from that sort of older generation, So I would like to see the baby boomers. And one thing I can sort of say for my parents is, and if they're watching this, shout out to you, is that they have really tried to adopt and at least accommodate the new mindsets, right? And learn from that, because you can learn from anybody. So I think the same way, just on like a social level, is the same way I'd love to see like people in very important positions saying, actually, we can learn from these guys. Because if we're looking at, back when we were talking about, global warming and things that were happening in the globe by our parent generation, we're saying we're ruining it for our kids. What we're finding now is that when people are having foresight for the future, a lot of the time they're saying we don't actually know what's going to happen. Like if we're talking about interventions in government when it comes to how agriculture is going to be, when it comes to how we're going to tackle like climate change, a lot of the time they're saying, okay, there's been so many things that this generation have come up with that we can't even predict what's going to happen in the future to mitigate all of the damage we've done to the planet in our generation. So for instance, things like vertical farming and stuff like this, like those are things that when they were saying, we're ruining it for our kids and the world is going to end because of what we've done, is the same way that now they're saying, okay, wow, this kid has thought about how to harness this energy in this certain way. So I think the same way that they can be perplexed as to how we think about these solutions is the same energy they should bring when they're planning the solutions. Rather than being surprised by us, let us be there and be like, actually, I was thinking about this. And then you're given more resource to now develop those kind of ideas. Because we're thinking differently, like the kids that I'm talking about when it comes to coding. We just think completely differently. Yeah.
The question of climate change has now become way more urgent, because it's like in reality, because of the information share that's come with the internet, the entire world understands that weather patterns are changing, not because I'm a bad farmer, because previously farmers would think that guy is just unlucky. He's just an unlucky guy. The weather patterns within that environment, are, they're just changing because it's God. So slaughter a goat and do a dance and then it starts raining. But now,
I'm not going to tell the story. Go.
Slaughter a goat, do a dance, and then it's going to start raining.
Yeah.
But now, that's the mentality that most, like people in rural, this is a reality in some of the rural areas here. But like now, the internet has gotten there. Kenya itself has over 90% handset penetration rate, meaning Kenyans have handsets. Internet penetration rate is over 90% to 95%. So that means that most Kenyans have access to the internet through their handsets, and are also able to access the internet because the cost of internet here is significantly cheaper than abroad, thanks to the companies that work here and the competitive aspect that's there. So that means that we are able to see what really is going on.
Exactly.
That we are able to we are able to understand that it's not the fact that Baba Yusuf is a bad farmer. It's the fact that climate change has changed the environment, the environment for farming within that specific area. And now it's important that we innovate around better genetically, whether it's foods that are genetically modified that can sustain the weather changes, or we change like what we are planting originally. So that creates kind of a need for more knowledge, because that's the nature of knowledge basically. Knowledge begets knowledge. If you know something, you want to know more, and it's a continuous cycle. Like you want to continue growing your mind about a specific aspect of a field. So now you're seeing the world changing, and now human beings are more knowledge-based than they ever have been. There's more information flow going in and out of people's minds and ears and mouths than there ever has been in history. And the reaction to that is that we're getting a more democratic, more inclusive society. And that's why you're seeing the changes that you're seeing. And the only ones who can push this agenda forward are the youth them. So we go back. Respect the youth them.
We respect the youth them. Respect the youth them.
Respect the youth them. Put the youth them in a board. Are you sitting on a board? I want to sit on a board as a youth dem. Respect the youth dem. Have the youth dem.
Do you know a perfect example of this is, when, and this is what I have to be very introspective here, because if I'm looking at something like TikTok, there was this whole joke going around, the day I joined TikTok is the day that, this is for the Gen Zs. Then COVID happened. Where did you all go? Where are you now? Where are you spending hours? I did the same thing. We need to look at ourselves.
What are you doing swiping the screen? Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. Don't be embarrassed.
Honestly. Okay. So I was the same. I used to look at TikTok like, I can't. If you go to my first TikTok at Eli and Wender, if you go to my first TikTok, you will see that I was making a joke like, like the camera was here and I'm saying I'm too old for this thing. Like, is it on? I don't understand this. I'm under 30. Like, that was my perspective, like, in a jovial way. But then if we fast forward, everyone is saying I was having a conversation with my sister, and when we're talking about, when we're talking to other marketers and things like that, they're saying, when they're trying to employ somebody, the first thing they're saying is, do you know how to effectively get TikTok and transitions and things like that? This is what my sister was saying to me. So it means that now they're starting to understand the same thing that was maybe mocked back in the day. So it's just, when are we going to, and this is like to everybody, this is just rhetorical, because it's a podcast, you can't answer. But when are we going to like get to the stage where before we dismiss something, we say, okay, we see the same thing in like music. We start saying, these, if we get into music, we'll be here for ages. We'll start saying, these... No.
You take the route. I have 3 or 4 examples lined up. The moment you've taken that route, I'm like...
Yeah.
Little baby, the baby... Lil Baby, the baby, what's the name? Money Bagio. We all used to go like, these guys, they're not classic. Lil Uzi Vert, Young Thug.
But even before.
And here's what's funny.
Go on.
Here's what's funny. Even in Kenya, Gengetone was the same way. Like these younger upcoming artists who we thought were like, it's just a phase. It is now standard. It is now standard to have those young artists on a track. If they're not there, who's listening, fam?
Honestly, it's the same thing happened. When like even when all the jazz heads, when hip hop came, they were like, whoa, that's not gonna last. It's been 20 years. It's been 20 years.
Rapping?
Yeah, exactly.
What is this rap?
Exactly.
What is this rap?
Warren Buffett and Jay-Z are friends. Like that's where. Do you know what I mean? Like this, it happens every time. So I think like if you don't want to make the same mistakes that happened before, if you want to have them on your side, then get us in the rooms early. Because otherwise, we're just not going to sort of trust you when you come to us when it's glowing up. If somebody is hating on what you're doing when you're struggling, then when it gets later down the line and you're successful, like we said in our last episode, you're going to come back crawling, and then the dynamic's not the same. But if you help us grow, everybody over 40, if you help us grow and you're with us when it doesn't look like there's much trajectory, then you'll help us figure out those mistakes and get to that place faster, because we can then use your knowledge. So I think there needs to be collaboration and just not collision of generations when it comes to implementing strategy for the future. Because everyone can learn from somebody.
Yeah, that's a very good soundbite. That's a very good soundbite. There needs to be collaboration, not collision, when it comes to generations. Very
Thank
good
you. I
soundbite.
used alliteration there to just make it more effective. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah. Kindly, this was the strategy. This was his plan.
I was trying to look at camera
so I
too.
was saying,
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So I was saying, when you started talking about Little Baby, in my head, I don't know if you noticed, my head was just going like, because I was already in the rap. I was already in it.
Yeah.
Shorty, you're good in my head. And already, I was just like, Because
Honestly,
bro, like the thing about change is that it's inevitable. It's inevitable, ladies and gentlemen. That's the thing about change. If you look at, let's say, you and I as podcasters, then like they're on a camera talking. Why are they just having conversations? Change is inevitable, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna happen. You're gonna fall in love with us. You're gonna like. You're gonna share. You're gonna subscribe.
Yeah.
And you're gonna tell your friends that you love Montauk.ke. It's gonna happen. You and I both know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So why not just do it now?
Change is gonna come.
Thank you. Anyway, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, change.
I was gonna break into song, but I
Don't
thought
worry about
I'll save my sister who's here and she'll cringe. Change gonna come.
Wait.
Sorry.
It is. But you see, if you look at someone like, let's say, our favorite Gen Z reference this season has been Elsa Majimbo. She came from nowhere, smashed it.
Yeah.
The reaction at first was like, yo, we don't really vibe with that, that kind of comedy and stuff. And then now the world has accepted her and she's gone. It's done.
Yeah. Now look upon your face.
It's done.
Idiot.
Now look on your face. Yeah. You be taken for idiot.
You be taken for idiot.
So
Yeah.
You be taken for idiot.
Taken
So
for
just work with the youth them. That's
Work
what
with
I'm
us.
trying
That's
to
all
say.
we're asking.
Work
Yeah.
with the youth them.
Yeah.
Work with the youth them.
Honestly.
Work with the youth them. And
Yeah.
those of because we've noticed that there's a number of silent viewers who are, in their 40s. It's okay. 40 is still young. No, it's not matter. It's not a matter. 40 is still young.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
Holla at your boy.
Yeah. Mention us in those rooms. Because the thing is, like you're saying, like with an Elsa or something, if you give them the platform, if you give them the opportunity, you'll be surprised. But here's the thing as well, as to all of us of our age. At the same time, we need to take ourselves a bit more seriously. Because I can see where the reservations come from. Here's the thing. If all you've seen, and it's a very entertaining program, but if all you've seen is something like Love Island, and you think these are the future that are going to raise children, if that's you're an old person, you've seen that, and then you say, "Oh, I'm also on social media," and you associate social media with something like Love Island, and you talk about, there's a lot that we don't do to help ourselves. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Love Island. I'm saying the perception we put out of
don't hate on Love Island.
No, I'm not hating on it. I'm not hating on it.
Watching this.
I'm not hating on it.
Love Island, if you're watching this, get my boy Eli in that house. Yeah.
I would rather crawl on
We've tried to hook him.
I would drag my face across gravel.
We've tried to get him
before I do that.
He'll rub his face on gravel and then he'll find a wife there. So he needs help, guys. It's hard. It's tough.
What?
It's really tough for a boy. He needs a chat. You know what I mean? Fancy a chat. He needs a chat.
Got text. No, the point I'm making. Let me retract that. Love Island, there's a place for that. There's a place for that. But I'm just saying, like, even sometimes the way we have portrayed ourselves as the youth them, we can sometimes see how we're not taken seriously sometimes. So at the same time, yes, they need to accept it, but we also need to show a bit of I'm trying to be sensitive with the words.
Maturity is the word.
Yeah, maturity, and just let's use the word maturity. We need to show some maturity and some a bit of a plan, like a bit of a, because a lot of the time, like I said, okay, we get knocked for the delayed gratification, but some of the time, yes, they need to say, okay, let's assist them so they can get there faster. But some of the time, I do think that because of the kind of age we live in, sometimes even when there is an opportunity, and I've seen this personally with young creative people, is when there's an opportunity, there's a slight lack of resilience that I've seen. because everything else in life happens quicker. So I have seen that side where, yes, we're efficient, but don't let that efficiency become a crutch, and it doesn't let you ever work when there's not efficiency. Because yes, that's our environment, but we need to also learn to be able to, be a bit versatile in the way we work. Because yes, efficiency is good, but it's not always going to be there. Like, it's not always going to be the way that something works. So I think a lot of the time as well, when we do get these opportunities, we need to show that yes, we can work efficiently, but if you need us to put in the work slightly longer, we can still do that too. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. Without knocking the youth.
I hear you. Yeah, don't knock the youth them. The youth them are strong. Youth them powerful.
They're strong.
Anyway, I was saying, I think the one demerit I think the youth currently have is because we've seen a lot of young people like exponentially create wealth. We have a tendency to lose respect for those who are older and more senior than us, thinking that there's no traditional knowledge to benefit from.
Yes.
Look at this guy. So like it's very important for us as youth to also acknowledge the fact that the generations that came before us have used philosophies that are useful in our era. Like, being consistent, being respectful, treating everyone around you equally is not something that we've come up with. It's something that's always been there. Technology is just making it more available to us, and that information has not been more available to us, so we know how to do it and execute it better. It doesn't mean it's not been there. So it's important for us as youth to acknowledge the age-old wisdom. In Kenya we call them mithali, proverbs. Pay attention to the proverbs. One of the proverbs is mtaka chavunguni sharti aname. If you want something under the bed, you got to bend your back to pick it up. Okay. If you want to get something in life, bend your back, pick it up. It's under the bed.
Come here.
You know what I mean? If you want something that's...
Now, in fact, we are talking.
Now we are talking.
Now we are talking. My language.
Now, yeah, that's the language. So that's the way we as Africans and we as the youth need to think. Like, there's age-old wisdom. Then there's new wisdom. Age-old wisdom must be respected. Don't lose your touch for... There's another saying in Kiswahili that says, mchamila ni mtumwa, meaning he who lives his heritage is a slave, because you're going to look for your heritage and your identity from someone else, and they will enslave you. So in Kiswahili we say, mchamila ni mtumwa. So please remember your heritage, remember your traditions. Take away the things that are, let's say, archaic, There's a lot of stuff I agree that are archaic in African tradition, but it's not all bad. There's some things that you learn, like how to respect people, community. In NBA, we used Ubuntu, Ubuntu, togetherness as people. That's been there for Africans for a long time. So things like that, I think, is the wisdom. That's the wisdom I got for the youth, damn. Not much to say, but that's... Yeah.
So I think that's
what a very good way to conclude the episode.
To wrap up. Yeah, I just want to do a little call to action for guys. Because a lot of the time the DMs we get are, we're looking for opportunity, I do this. So I think one thing we should also do is help ourselves with this efficiency, with this technology we've got. So just a little call to action for guys, and we can even use this clip on our socials, is if you know of like people that are, or agencies or foundations that are really supporting youth in certain industries. Let's just take the creative one, for instance, now. People that are, if you know of a body that's already implementing what we're saying, which is working collaborative with youth, then let us know what they are. Like, because then somebody might be in the comments like, oh, I want to try and connect, or like, I'm a youth and I've got a project, I want to be assisted. So if like you know of any bodies and institutions, then just comment them. It's like some institution that's helped you, one that's helping you at the moment, because a lot of guys, they need the information. So yeah, drop a little comment if there's a body or a company or a corporate that's assisting youth at the moment and what they're doing, because we can help each other in the comment section.
There we go.
That's it.
See,
that's
youth
it.
them.
That's
very
it.
important.
We help ourselves.
We build a platform, and now youth them. We build a platform and help ourselves. That's the youth for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I enjoyed that.
That's fantastic. I second that. That was fantastic. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I hope you got the answers you want. The Instagram followers who sent the question, we had to turn it into an episode because the questions were so saucy. And we put them together and done it. Like we do.
Yeah.
So remember, guys, like, share, subscribe.
Subscribe.
This episode, of course, cannot go without talking to our sponsors. Beryl in the back with the cameras, you know, and Big Boy Eric, who continues to be bothered by DMs. Girls, stop it, slow down.
BB.
He's available. He's very much available. I can send his number. You can DM me. I'll do it. Anyway.
Also, remember we've got the live as well. We've got the live tune on Thursdays for our live as well.
Oh.
And
yeah.
Next episode is episode 6. And do you remember last episode we said episode 6 is always going to be a Q&A. Do you remember?
Ooh,
so next episode is a Q&A. So get involved. Drop us a DM on the socials, and that will be included in the next episode. So yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be posting it on socials too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Next
for
episode
us.
is a Q&A episode.
Yeah.
Fire.
We love them. Thank you guys for tuning
Bye.
in. Peace.